Welcome to the Trev and Drew Show. We're coming to you live right after the season 40 finale of Survivor, Winners at War. Tony wins 12-4-0 over Natalie Anderson and Michelle Fitzgerald. Trev, how do you feel about that finale?
That was I just watched it for the fifth time and I'm still shaking. Like
Yeah.
I still love it.
Yeah.
I love that Tony won. He's a king of Survivor, one of the best ever. It was amazing. I loved it.
So is he the best ever?
I mean, in non-personal, like as a fact, yes. But personally, I like other people better. But like as a fact, yeah, he's the best of all time.
Yeah, as a fact, I would probably say that Tony is the greatest player ever. If I had to, if I was going bias based, I would probably say, I don't know, like Earl Cole. I loved Earl Cole's season. And if I was just going based off of favorites, my favorite Survivor player of all time is Hannah Shapiro, which is a random person, but like Hannah from Millennials vs. Gen X. Loved her, and like there was virtually no chance he was going to beat Adam, but I loved her. So one thing that I want to talk about is rewatching this finale and that final tribal. As you see the three of them sitting up in the front, I realized that just in terms of this season, a case could be made that Tony was the best strategic player, that Natalie was the best physical player, and that Michelle was the best social player. And I feel like that fully encompasses what Survivor is all about. Absolutely.
Yeah, it was worked out perfect.
Yeah, and in the end, the best strategic player won, which I think that I feel like a lot of people feel that the best strategic player should usually and almost always does win, whether
sometimes it should, like
Yul
won his and
Yul won over Ozzy, even though Ozzy was the one winning the challenges, but Yul was the one who was the mastermind behind everything. He was the one that was keeping the I-24 in the game by basically blackmailing Jonathan Penner. Which one thing that sucks about this season is a lot of the people that we wanted to see go further were taken out early, and that's that happens with a lot of returner seasons. But I really want to see Yul and like Parvati move farther. I kind of assume Boston Rob wasn't going to make it that far because he has to go out early.
Like Adam said, he had the last season he had that whole huge statue.
Him and Sandra had statues. You have to take them out. You live on an island where this and also I want to talk about how all three of these people obviously have won before, and I would say that in this season at their final tribal, all three of them had better final tribal council performances than they did in their previous season. Now, obviously Natalie had to go up against Missy, who the jury hated, and Jacqueline, who people kind of loved, but Natalie, all she had to do was say what her moves were, and she was going to win. Tony, Wu was dumb enough to take Tony to the final, so
that's
all Tony had to do was tell Trish that it was worth $1 million when she brought up the whole swearing on his dead dad thing, and then Michelle, it seemed like a couple of them were very bitter towards Aubrey, and they were never going to vote for Ty. So all Michelle had to do was show up and show that she was confident and smart in the moves that she made. But this time, I feel like all three of them gave it their all, and it didn't seem like anyone was overly bitter. Nick and Jeremy seemed like they were annoyed by something, but I'm going to assume that was the rain. And then Sophie was just dead in general, so I don't think she had any type of ill will towards anyone. I think she just did not want to be there, which I understand because it's raining and you're sick and you've been out there for 39 days at this point. You just want to go home. So if we want to rewind to the beginning of the episode, starting at the final 6, Natalie and Jeremy send a disadvantage to Ben right before their immunity challenge. And it just so happens that this immunity challenge, Michelle wins. Now, at this point, I feel like Michelle is probably at the bottom. She's been at the bottom for most of the game.
Yeah.
But the fact that like she did in Go Wrong, when she really needs to win immunity, she does. So she wins
exactly.
this one.
Yeah.
They go to tribal. They vote out Nick Wilson. We get to the final five. We have what do we want to call it? The edge.
The edge duel.
The edge duel.
Yeah.
Where Natalie Anderson has every single
Yes.
advantage known to man in the game. Yeah. So it would have taken an epic Falcon-like choke job for her to not win that challenge.
And she almost
does.
Was the editing. It could have been the editing, but
true.
It seemed really, really close, way closer than it should have been.
Well, apparently with the earlier duel when Tyson came back, apparently the editing cut out the fact that like Yule was like very close as well. So yeah, it could have they had Rob there
going back.
It could have very much been the editing, but anyway, Natalie wins. Natalie wins, and then Probst has his swan song moment with all of the people that are going to be now going to Ponderosa, and it was this season more than I would feel like any season beforehand, and maybe because I'm like so attached to all of these people at this point, really got my emotions going. I don't think since like Adam Klein and Millennials vs. Gen X have I felt like this much emotions watching a season. So he's going one by one and he's asking people what Survivor means to them, and you get people like Ethan and Boston Rob talking about what it's been to their life, and like it really got me. And also Natalie collapsing after she wins got me as well, because she's the first person voted out, and here she is day 35-ish, and she's back in the game. Her edge game this season was it was phenomenal. So
you have to give her that. Whether she plays a good social game or not.
Whether she played a good social, she's just a beast. And she's a CrossFit Jesus. She's a former rugby player, and as a former rugby player and a current coach, like I respect those types of. Obviously, we're all in our little community, so I have to support her.
Yes, that's awesome.
So Natalie wins. Tony knows that she has an idol. Sarah doesn't believe she has an idol. Ben doesn't believe she has an idol.
No.
Tony's sitting there telling them, like, and I don't. Maybe it's the editing once again, but I didn't see a reason for them to not believe that she had an idol.
It was so illogical that they just refused to listen to Tony. And I'm like yelling at the TV, like, she has one.
He's actually right, guys.
Like, he's right. He's not Tony just being Tony, being crazy.
And so we get to who goes out next?
Denise goes out.
So Denise goes out at that final tribal, or at that tribal council. Sarah brings up gender bias in the game. Now, I've seen a lot more of this being discussed online in the last few years, especially since the show hasn't had a winner that was female since Sarah and Game Changers. Personally, I see where a lot of people are coming from as far as I don't think the game is necessarily rigged for a male to win, but I do think that the whole last name thing kind of threw me off. Like, I think she was making good points up until the last name thing with Probst. I do feel like, at the beginning of the game, they take out the older women first. And then, you get to the merge and you want to make an easy vote. So you take out like a younger woman first. And, so it's very hard for a woman to succeed usually. But also, if you look at the stats, it's men to women winners was pretty even up until around 30.
30, then that's when it took off. It was like one every other one for a little bit.
And then there was that part where there was the Denise, I don't remember in exactly which order, but it's the Kim, Denise, Sophie 3 in a row.
I think that is the order. Or Denise, Kim, so something like that.
So I don't necessarily want to say that I don't believe that's true, because I do believe that certain biases
There
are always
is,
going to
but like,
certain biases
yes.
are always going to enter
Yeah,
into the game.
yes.
As a black guy, I totally understand
Yeah.
if I were to ever go on the show how some people might look at me and how I might be perceived. And all I have to do is just be me. And
Yeah.
if people don't like Jeremy, Earl Cole, two perfect examples of
Yeah.
people that people just liked, that
Yeah.
people like them, and they both got to the end and
Yeah.
swept.
Yeah.
Um,
Both unanimous.
yeah, both unanimous.
Yeah.
So yeah, I will say that she is right about some of those things that she was saying, but she lost me on the last name thing.
Yeah.
I people call me by my last name. I call most people by their last name,
I've never been
male
called
or
by my
female.
last name.
Oh, well, so
No one's ever
I
said like, Helton, come over here. I'm like,
yeah, oh yeah.
so,
Even my players call me Denson. They don't even call me
Oh, okay.
coach. They call me Denson. Um,
well, I didn't play that many sports. That's probably
oh,
why.
okay. So then we get to the next immunity challenge, which Tony wins.
Yes.
And Tony's now he's starting to win immunities, which is something that he didn't do in Kagayan, which
No.
is I totally forgot about until I went back and rewatched that season. It's like, wow, Tony didn't win anything.
I thought
Yeah.
he did too. Then I kept on hearing he didn't. I'm like,
Yeah, it was Spencer
what?
and Tasha winning most of the challenges that season,
Yeah.
which is why they stayed for so long. So
And
Ben
did Woo win any on that season? I
Woo
forget.
won a
He won.
couple.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I guess he
Weasel
won the
Woo
last
won a
one.
couple.
He won the last one.
He
Yeah.
won the last one, the
Yeah.
one that cost him $1 million probably.
Yeah.
So we get back to camp, and Ben and Sarah are talking,
Mm-hmm.
and they have another very emotional moment. Like this episode, just in general, really just
yeah.
messes with you.
Oh yeah.
Where Ben basically says, I know I'm not gonna like. He can read the room. He knows he's probably not going to win. He tells Sarah to vote for him.
Yeah.
I personally, so there's a lot of people that say that when you ask people to vote yourself out, that should be considered a quit. I personally don't feel that way. I feel like if you go through all of the stuff to get to tribal and then they vote you out, I feel like you've been voted out. You're gone. You haven't quit the game. You haven't pulled a Nyanka, a Purple Kelly, things like that.
Yeah.
And so that's why I don't consider what Johnny Fairplay did in Micronesia as a quit, because he was still voted out. There was still a chance that they wouldn't.
Yeah, so they
vote for him.
didn't listen to him. Like no.
Yeah, I'm not going to vote him out. Well, yeah, it's the same thing in the Amazon, where I think at one point Jenna Maraska asked people to vote her out, and she even gives up her necklace to Heidi in the hopes that maybe Rob Sesternino will flip and vote her out. He doesn't, but I
think the Nyanka had a good chance to win too.
Which is crazy in Nicaragua.
On Fabio's season,
Which is insane because
11
she was
days left.
An evil person. Oh God, I didn't like Nyanka at all. So we
did not like.
So we get to that tribal. Ben goes home. Oh, and right before he says, when he tells Sarah, he says, "But you got to go out and win it." Sadly, that's not the case.
Well,
but we'll get to that. But we'll get to that. So we go to the Final Four immunity, and it's the one with the balls, and you have to catch it at the bottom.
Yes.
And Natalie Anderson wins.
Yeah. It was close between her and Michelle.
It was very close. At this point, I'm thinking, well, she has to pull the Chris Underwood move and go to fire with Tony. Like, she has to do this. Even though she's played a great game on the edge, she's done everything she's needed to do since she's gotten back into the game.
Yeah.
If she's the one telling everyone, oh yeah, everyone at the edge is going to vote for Tony if he gets to the end. Why not take it upon yourself?
Then you have to do, exactly. Dude.
Why not take it upon yourself to be the one that takes him out of the game?
Yes.
We'll get to her rationale behind that when we get to the final tribal. Yeah. But they get to the Final Four tribal council, and she gets Sarah or Lucina to go up against Tony. And once again, emotions are high, and the music of this season and like the production crew really did a great job of the season of getting you emotionally invested in it.
Definitely
So you get this fire making challenge. At one point, Sarah is on the verge of winning, and Tony pulls it out, and they have they have this embrace, and I don't think that they were crocodile tears. I think that Tony was legitimately that drained and that emotional about getting to that point with
100%.
Sarah, especially if you go back to their previous 2 seasons and the journey that they have gone through together on 3 seasons of Survivor, where they start off, are you a cop? No, I work
Yeah, like, no, what do you say? He's a construction? Yeah, he's a construction worker.
Yeah. You want to know something? What? I'm not a cop. And he votes her out at the merge of Cagayan. They don't get to play with each other in Game Changers.
No,
and
not
then
at
this
all.
season, they stick together through all of the craziness,
Cops are us.
including when he votes out Sophie and she goes off on him at camp. And listening to a couple of interviews of people that were there, they all say that it was a lot worse with her swearing at him when they got back to camp that was even shown on TV. So the fact that she put that behind her, and even when he's telling her Natalie has an idol, at any point he could have just said, okay, Sarah's not going to listen to me, she can go.
Yeah, let's just get her out.
Yeah. And the fact that they stuck through everything, and I feel like they really want to go to the final 3 together, probably with Ben.
Definitely. I really think that too.
Yeah, and because in that instance, Ben would be the 0 vote getter.
Yes. Oh, definitely.
Which I'm just going to touch on for a second, and I know we and you have briefly discussed this. I never understood like the out and out hatred of Ben. I personally, if I were to rank all my winners, Ben's nowhere close to the top or anything like that.
Yeah.
But I did enjoy certain moments of him in HHH. But when you go online, and I have a lot of friends that watch Survivor as much as I do, and I've never met anyone that even is moderate about Ben. They just don't like him at all.
Yeah,
which
it's
is
not like his
crazy.
gameplay. It's not his way he plays. It's like it's him. It's him.
It's just him. It's just him as a person.
It's him as a person.
Yeah. So in HHH when there's that really sad, whatever you want to call it, moment with with his PTSD.
Yeah,
and
I remember that. That's like the only thing I remember from that season.
Yeah, and all the Ben bombs. And I love that moment. I thought he had a great character. Yes, I was annoyed that they changed the rule that season, so there's a fire making, whatever. But I've never, and I know I've said this before too. There's never been a winner. When I rank my winners list, even the person at the bottom is just my least favorite winner. Like, I don't think there's ever been a bad winner of Survivor, because every winner has done what they needed to do in their season to win the game.
Yeah,
to win the game.
I agree with that.
Yeah. So and people do on Fabio all the time, which, Fabio wasn't the best strategic player that's ever existed, or even a strategic player.
At all. Yeah,
at all. But he won immunities.
Yes,
and everyone liked
4 in
him.
a row or something.
Yeah, he won everything that he needed to do from I think Final 7, Final 8 or Final 7, and he played a great social game of he was always on the wrong side of the numbers, but he also everyone loved him except for Nyanka, but she was weird.
But then she voted for him.
Yeah, but then she voted.
Yeah, I was so confused on that. I'm like, why did you vote for Fabio?
Fabio,
she stole his socks.
I don't like you. Like, what is that?
Like, why?
She in the history of Survivor, everyone that's if I were to rank everyone that's ever made it to the merge, should be dead last in my book. Yeah,
and Purple Kelly's underneath her, because at least she's like
Purple
Kelly.
I mean, she's not even. Yeah, she was there.
Yeah,
she was there. She was Purple Kelly. She wasn't even the most relevant Kelly on her season, because Kelly with the one leg had a better story than Purple Kelly did.
Oh yeah, God. I wish she went further.
Yeah, me too. But she ran into Nyanka, and so Sarah goes home, and if you watch the Ponderosa, everyone gives them a round of applause. So if you watch the Ponderosas, she gets the Ponderosas. She's sitting at dinner. I think it was with Ben, Adam, and Denise, and she asked them straight up, like, "Were you guys applauding the fact that Tony beat me, or what?" And they're like, "No, we were applauding because it was really intense, and it was really great, and we both respected you guys as games." which was it was really nice the fact that they took that moment to do it because it was
No, it was
very intense.
Yeah.
I think
You see Adam's
besides,
face. Adam was like,
yeah,
Adam
and
was everyone was into it. It was like
speaking of
crazy.
faces, Michelle's face, and they kept panning to it, and I didn't notice it the first time I watched the season.
Yeah.
They kept panning to it, and in my head, I'm like, Michelle knows she's screwed. Like
Yeah.
Michelle knows that there's no
No matter who
unless
wins, really.
yeah. Now that Tony has won this, there is no way that she is going to get votes,
No.
which sucks because
Like
I
maybe
did like her.
Wendell, maybe Nick. Those are the
Yeah,
only two that are maybe.
yeah, because even like she was aligned with Jeremy, but Jeremy's going to vote for Natalie no matter what.
No matter what. Yeah.
So you could just kind of tell, like, oh man, I'm screwed. So we get to final tribal, and I'm so thankful to the fact that because a lot of returner seasons, there's a little bit of bitterness with the juries.
Yeah.
A little or a lot if we're talking about all stars or heroes versus villains.
Or Samoa or
no, that's not. Oh, that's our yeah.
Yeah, it's not returning.
So for this one, like I said earlier, it seemed like maybe Jeremy and Nick were annoyed, but it also really could have been the rain. And my favorite part, and I'm gonna let you talk about it, was when Ben chimed in.
Yes. When he said, "Oh, I can attest for Tony's loyalty. I can attest for it. He was loyal to me." And Jeremy was like, he had this face that it was so crazy. He's like, he didn't vote for you. I mean, he didn't vote you out.
Yeah.
And I replayed that like so many times.
Yeah.
Like, Ben, what are you talking about?
And
like,
Ben was so overly confident about it as well.
He's like, I can attest for
it. Tony's very loyal. And it's like, no, bro. Like, yeah, he might be in like his real life, but we're talking about out here. And just because he didn't vote you out doesn't mean. And I think the other part was Natalie. Natalie tried to call out Tony when Tony was like he was building relationships with everyone. Now he built the relationship with Jeremy, and Natalie just says, "Oh no, I don't think that's true." And Tony, that's the only time that Tony broke character all season.
He's like,
no, don't say that. Don't say that. That's
I don't like sports and I don't like this. Only thing we connected to was our family. And he's like, I respect him as a firefighter. We both have families and we both talk about that. Everything was real.
Yeah.
So he was like offended. He was offended by that.
And Natalie, to her credit, just kind of she stopped right there. She didn't even argue that point, which was okay. Boston Rob brings up the point of Natalie. Why didn't you take Tony to fire?
Yeah.
If you know that Tony's the biggest threat, why wouldn't you take him to fire? And Natalie basically says that was an option. Another option was to break up the big alliance of Ben, Sarah, and Tony.
Yeah.
Ben goes home. Okay. At that point, I feel like the alliance is already broken up because now it's 2-2.
Yeah.
So all you got to do
that was just a weird excuse.
It was, but but the fact that she stuck to her guns and said, "I don't regret making that decision."
Yeah.
Obviously, with the votes the way that they went, maybe, but I respected that decision. Although I will say that I probably still would have taken Tony to fire.
You would have.
Michelle the necklace. Go with Tony to fire. Beat him straight up, and you probably win the game.
Oh yeah, she would. I would have kept the necklace though, because I'm like, I want to be safe.
Yeah,
I think you should do that. But if I put that position,
we have the Chris. We only have one example. It's the Chris Underwood example, where Rick Devens was probably going to win that season.
Oh yeah,
if he hadn't gone to fire with Chris, and that's above all. Like people can do on Chris all they want. He made the right move at the end, and that's why I didn't hate the fact that he won at the end because he did what he had to do. And we're gonna touch on the edge aspect of the game in a little while. But so everyone goes to vote. Like I said earlier, it's 12-4-0. Tony, Natalie, Michelle. Now, do you think that Michelle should have and possibly could have gotten any type of votes? Because watching the Jury Says videos, almost universally everyone is saying, "Oh yeah, it's either going to be Tony or Natalie." Michelle did this, but like it's really between these two.
But yeah.
So do you think that Michelle?
I thought Nick voted for Michelle because the way that they had it, he
Yeah,
said,
the way they
"Oh, I know
edited
what
it.
it's like being on the bottom." I'm like, "Well, he voted for Michelle." And then
Yeah,
when they read the votes, no one was for Michelle. I'm like, "What? He voted for Tony." I'm
yeah,
like,
that
"How?"
one didn't even make
Yeah,
sense
it didn't make sense. Tony wasn't on the bottom,
ever.
so
I
I
don't think it
hope.
was
I
at the
wish he
bottom ever.
did. I
Yeah,
wish he got a vote from
I
Wendell
wish he
and
had
Nick.
gotten a vote. And so listening to interviews of people, especially Tony, and it doesn't seem like Tony has any ill will towards Natalie at all. But he continues to say he doesn't think that anyone that comes back from the edge
Yeah,
should receive votes when there's another person there that could receive votes.
yeah.
Um, Now, I've been sitting on this for a while now, just because I've been very back and forth about it. But in my head, in the end, I think that you have to go with the rules that are in place for your season.
Yeah.
So if, for instance, if Burton had won Pearl Islands after all the outcasts came back, I wouldn't have hated it because that was the twist for this season.
Yeah.
And you have to play within the rules set for you and your specific game. So I don't like. I think that Natalie did deserve the 4 votes that she got. Um, Now, if it was, let's say, Ethan that had come back, yeah,
Mhm.
I feel like Michelle probably should have gotten. And I love Ethan. I'm a
Yeah.
big Ethan fan.
Yeah.
But if it was
He
Ethan that
probably would
came
have
back,
won if he came
yeah,
back because
yeah,
Amber, Rob,
yeah,
Poverty,
but I
Tyson.
honestly don't feel like the jury would have voted on likability this year. I think they
I
were
would hope
trying
they
to crown.
wouldn't, but
Yeah, I feel like they were going to crown. They were trying to crown the greatest survivor.
yeah,
So I feel like if it was Ethan that had come back, Michelle probably would have gotten votes.
a couple votes, but Natalie
Yeah.
would have won, I think. Or oh
Yeah,
wait, so who's in
If
the
it was
final
Tony,
three then?
Michelle, yeah, if it was Tony,
Oh, okay.
Michelle, and an Edge person,
Oh, okay.
there's
Still,
only a few people. I feel like Tyson probably would have gotten a lot of votes as well,
yeah,
because he worked very hard out there.
yeah.
From what we saw, I feel like who else? I don't feel like Danny would have gotten.
Kim, I don't think would have gotten any. No, Danny would have gotten 0. She would have gotten negative votes.
I think everyone that played this season basically confirmed, you know, them winning their previous season and or made up for maybe a controversial win like Ben or Michelle,
Yes, that's a
except
good
for
point.
Danny, except for
Yeah,
Danny who came out and I get she was trying to play hard, but like she was making a lot of blunders really
yeah. I
early
was
on.
confused
I was
every time
very
she was on
confused by
screen. I was
that.
confused.
Yeah.
Almost like when
My
Ben was
favorite
on
scene is
screen.
with her, Ethan, and Ben, where
Yeah,
she's like, yeah, old school alliance, and Ethan just goes, he's not
yeah.
old
I
school.
remember that. You're like, he's.
He's
No,
not
like,
old school.
oh,
So overall, I think that the edge the edge aspect of the game this season was a lot better than it was in its inaugural season. Much
oh
like
yeah.
most twists that have happened in Survivor, with the exception of like the Medallion of Power, which they just got rid of. But like Redemption
Oh
Island,
yeah.
I feel like Redemption Island really, was perfected in the first Blood versus Water.
Mhm.
They
Yeah, with Laura and
Yeah,
Tina
with Laura
and
Moret and Tina killing everyone else out there.
yeah,
Um, I feel like the Edge of Extinction this time was done a lot better, and it might be because it was all returners.
yeah.
Now, what is really going to be weird is because they're saying that they're going to get rid of that, but they're going to keep fire tokens. Now, first, I want to get your opinion on fire tokens
Mhm.
before I go any further.
Yeah. So fire tokens, what I think it's like when I watch Survivor, I'm watching it for entertainment. I'm watching it for the characters and stuff on there. And what fire tokens like gave me the viewer was not much besides just confusion and and not being anticlimactic. Because I'm like, oh, what are these? This is interesting. What's going to happen? Okay, these
Nothing.
people are getting 16, people are getting 14. Oh, what are they going to buy with this? And like, oh, this is the last day you can use them. I'm like, okay. So as a viewer, it didn't really add anything to me. It was more people playing the game. I'm sure it was something interesting, something fun and different, but me, it added nothing. I hope they do something different where it actually is they buy bigger stuff and it means something when they have
Yeah,
more.
and
You know?
what's really going to be interesting is now that there's no Edge, how will fire tokens and
Yeah.
what you can buy with them impact the game. Because we saw with Natalie this season where she would just basically extorted everyone in the game for all of their tokens.
Yeah.
So now that there's no edge aspect to it, how would this whole currency system go about? Which leads me to my next, I guess, kind of topic is
Yeah.
I feel like this season was a good bookend on this era of Survivor. So we'll go millennials versus Gen X to now as like
Yeah.
the big moves era.
Yeah. The building your resume era.
Yeah.
What you're gonna yeah.
So I feel like this is the bookend to that chapter, and I feel like the next chapter, for better or worse, is going to be the fire token chapter. Now,
Yeah.
how long that goes for, we'll see. Maybe they'll
Yeah.
make some adjustments to how that currency works, and it'll become better as it goes along.
Yeah.
But I feel like this was the perfect, and much like most returner seasons are, this is the perfect ending to this chapter of Survivor, which started
Mhm.
off with Adam Klein winning because he had a better resume than Hannah and Ken.
Mhm.
And going
Oh
all the
yeah.
way, we go
And
through.
unanimous.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Wow. Wow. I forgot about that. I thought Ken got a vote
Yeah.
somewhere. Uh, but then we go through Wendell,
Yeah.
you know, Wendell and Dom basically dominating Ghost Island and ending in the
Yeah.
first ever tie because they're
Yeah.
the two biggest. They have the two biggest resumes of the season,
Yeah.
and so obviously that they would tie. And now we get to here where, yeah, all Tony, Michelle, and Natalie all did a lot of good things. And if it was season 3 or season 4, Michelle probably wins. If
Yeah. I
it's
agree.
if it's somewhere in the middle, Natalie probably wins. But because of the era that we're playing in now, Tony was always
Yeah.
going to win the game, uh, which is fun to think about. If Tony loses that and it's Michelle, Sarah, and Natalie, do you think
Mhm.
that it's that much of a landslide, or do you think the votes are more spread out at that point?
I think it'd be spread out. I think Nick and Wendell would vote for Michelle at that point. I just, for some reason, I think that because I think they had to vote for Tony because he played such a good game. But I think they're like, you know what? Michelle's our friend. Let's vote for her. I think Sarah would still win.
I
She
think
would still
Sarah.
get 4 votes. Natalie would. But the rest would get it. I just personally think Michelle would have got 2 votes.
Yeah, I feel like Sarah would win, but I don't think that she would get double digits. I
No.
think that I think the votes would be very much spread out, and I feel like people were looking for reasons to give Natalie the win. Like I felt like the Edge people, because they're all out there together, they really
Yeah.
want to vote for the person that they've seen doing all this stuff because they haven't been around
Yeah.
these other players for so long, so they only know based off of what's happening in Tribal, but they see Natalie doing all this stuff at the Edge, and they see
Oh,
how
yeah.
much he's impacting the game. So I think they really want it, and like I said earlier, I feel like Rob said it the best when he said,
But
yeah, you have to take out the biggest threat, and you would have won the game. And
yeah.
I fully believe that if she had taken out Tony, it would have been a lot closer between her and Sarah. I think Sarah probably still wins in that situation, but
Yeah.
I feel like the vote would have been a lot closer between the
It
two.
would have been because I don't know because Rob was still offended that she didn't like talk to Amber or something
Yeah.
during
Okay.
that.
Yeah.
So
Okay, Rob,
he's
relax. I'm
yeah,
trying
like
to get
relax.
back in the
Didn't
game,
talk to
bro. Like,
Amber. Didn't
yeah,
talk to
yeah. You didn't
Amber.
talk to him. Like, sorry that I'm a CrossFit Jesus, and
yeah.
she's not. Uh,
yeah.
but Natalie and Natalie straight up said that she's not the best social
Yeah.
person.
Yeah. She
She was
admitted to
out there.
like
Yeah, she was out there looking out for herself, and I think it might have even been no, it was Parvati that says Natalie stuck to her guns. Like she knew that she was out for herself, and like she didn't care if she pissed people off because
yeah. Oh yeah.
her goal
I
was to
remember
get back
that.
into the game.
Yeah.
And so yes, that social play that a lot of people like to harp on, yes, that was probably to her detriment, but I feel like the biggest thing was the fact that she didn't take out Tony.
Yes. That
That,
was
that,
just
that was the
she was
biggest thing was
never
to
gonna
take,
win.
yeah. And I think that like we keep saying, her best chance was just taking out Tony. So
Yeah.
I know we've already said that we both think that Tony is the greatest winner / probably player of
Yeah.
all time. Um, in terms of just returner seasons first, where would you put this? Just returner seasons.
Returner seasons. I love heroes versus villains, but I think the wrong person won. So the right person won on this one. Me personally, since Tony won, I'm going to put it number 1 for returning seasons. Heroes versus villains, number 2. But I think Poverty or Russell should have won Heroes versus Villains. But
Okay.
you know,
So I'm a big Sandra stan. I'm a big everyone on Survivor stan, to be fair. So
same with me. Just a few people I just don't
yeah,
like.
okay, yeah. So like
personally,
like I keep mentioning, Nayanka and Purple Kelly, they can go.
Ben.
Oh, Ben. But in terms of returner seasons, Heroes versus Villains will probably always be my favorite because I called it when it first came out. I called it was basically Survivor the movie. It was, and so like Winners at War would be like the sequel to it, but
That's a good
Heroes
point,
versus
dude.
Villains was like I could watch that season every day for a week and not get tired of it because
it's super entertaining.
It lulls for a second, like 2 episodes where it's like, okay, but from beginning to end, for the most part, especially that first episode, the sand challenge,
with Sugar,
classic,
and all that.
with Sugar, questionable casting choice, but I didn't hate Sugar.
No, I liked her in what was she played?
Gabon.
Africa. Yeah, Gabon. Yeah.
Gabon. They brought her and Randy back from Gabon, and like I liked Randy as a character. I liked Randy. After it was done during the season, I was like, I hate this guy. So I would put Heroes versus Villains first, and I would put Cambodia second, and then Winners at War. Just because Cambodia, that was you started seeing the birth of the big moves era.
Like the new school era.
You just bring back 20 of the best. It was 20, right? Yeah, they brought back 20 of the people that played before, and these people were going at it so hard that they had to award Jeremy the win at the end because I think Spencer probably should have gotten a couple votes, but I feel like Jeremy more than anyone else that season, except for maybe like Spencer or Kelly Wentworth, did everything that he needed to do without pissing off people, except for that one moment he had with Kimmy, but Kimmy shouldn't have tried to turn on him. And he mentions that at the final. And then Winners at War. And so I was saying this earlier. I watched Winners at War, obviously, like most people, during the height of COVID. So I would have loved it even if it was one of the worst seasons. So like Nicaragua. If it was Nicaragua, I probably still would have loved it. So
that's Fabia's, right?
Yes, that's Fabia's.
Okay.
So as the months progressed, I'm like, was Winners at War really that good? Or was I just living in the moment of, wow, okay, it's Survivor.
Like all these people.
I'm gonna love. So when I rewatched it again, like, wow, this is actually very good. The family visit episode is probably my favorite episode Survivor that's ever happened. Ever.
I still
Well, and it's crazy because I've heard a lot of people like they don't bash that episode, but they said they didn't like the fact that they committed 2 different segments to it, where they had the people that were still in the game and then the edge part. But my favorite line, this is how in depth with Survivor I get. My favorite line from this season is Natalie running and screaming, "Oh my God, it's our families!" Then Amber, Amber running out and Rob running out and Danny falling on the ground. It was so emotional. And then you have the people still in the game with Tony. Tony with his family. This first time you see Tony as like an actual person. Not this person in the game. You see Tony as the father. You see Tyson as not the smartass. You see him as the father. We've already seen Jeremy as the father and the husband, so like it's always cool to see Jeremy.
Like, come on.
Get
out here.
So everything that happened in this season, emotions wise, like it's definitely one of my favorite seasons. So it's my third favorite returner season, and it's actually my third favorite season overall because my top 5, 4 of them are returner seasons, and the 5th one is Cagayan. So Micronesia would be 4th for me, which I feel like I'm going to have to rewatch Micronesia at some point because from what I remember about the game didn't really get interesting until the merge, which is not necessarily, it's not really a detriment to it because in the second fans versus favorites in Karamoan, the pre-merge was horrible. It's probably the worst pre-merge ever. And from
is that
the merge,
one where Francesca got voted out?
Yes, the second time.
Oh, dude,
I will eat this rock if I'm voted out first again.
Oh man, I felt so bad for it.
So Karamoan was really good after the merge, but the pre-merge sucked. But Micronesia, from what I remember, it was the same way. So I wonder why I look at Micronesia a lot higher than I do at Karamoan, and it might be because the whole thing with Brenda and Dawn at Final Tribal also really made me cringe with the whole teeth gate where she made Dawn take her teeth out. Yeah, that was very uncomfortable. And she didn't even vote for her. It's still like, oh yeah, show me it's worth it. And I'm not going to vote for you anyway. I'm going to vote for Cock.
Yeah, some jury people do stuff like that.
It's super uncomfortable, but that's why I'm glad that in this season we didn't have any of that bitterness, and anytime that there might be an inkling of it, it just got shut down and people moved on.
Yeah.
But other than that, I'm excited that the reading of the votes was nice. It was nice the way they did it, especially with everything going on. It sucks that we didn't get a chance to hear from other people, but I've listened to enough interviews from most of the people that played the game to kind of gauge how they felt
at the reunion.
But longer, which was really nice. It sucks, and it sucks that we didn't get Survivor this fall for the first time since I was 9 years old.
Since 1999.
Summer of 2000. Summer of 2000. But I feel like when they do come back, not necessarily season 41. Season 41, I feel like they should probably just get newbies in, but I feel like somewhere between 41 and 43, they need to do an all returner season again, just to get people back into the show, just in case 41 doesn't. The only reason I don't think 41 should be is because we just had a returner season in 40, and we had 4 returners in season 38. And we had 2 technically in 39 with Rob and Sandra. So I feel like if we just take like a mini break in 41, whenever they filmed that, in 42, they can do a Legends season or another second chance or another. I really want another Heroes versus Villains.
Heroes versus Villains too. That'd be amazing. And
so that brings me to the last thing, and I want to discuss: how many of these people do you think are actually coming back?
Well, Tyson said he's coming back. I heard on the podcast he does, Rob versus Tyson. Poverty asked him if he was coming back, and he said, yeah. Poverty said she's not coming back.
Yeah, I don't think she's
coming Rob back. Never answered the question, so
Rob's always going to come back.
I think he would. He's always going to come back.
Especially if they do a Legend season, Rob is absolutely going to come back.
It doesn't matter. He'll do whatever. Nick is coming back. You watch his Ponderosa video. It sounds like he was not satisfied at all playing Winners at War. He was not happy with what happened, and he's like, he wants to come back.
Yeah.
Wendell, with this podcast with Russell, sounded like he wasn't going to come back for a while, which is unfortunate.
Oh, during the top 100, the pre-show, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he said that because the way they edited him.
Yeah, they made him look like a huge jerk this season.
Yes, I
listened to Michelle get interviewed, and she was like, "Yeah, Wendell wasn't like that at all." So,
yeah,
that was weird.
That was really weird. I
think because they needed a villain this season.
I guess that's why.
Because since Tony wasn't being Tony this year, they needed someone
to get that. What do you think of Sandra saying that she was mad about Rob for saying that he was never going to play again?
I think this is Sandra being Sandra. I don't think there was any real merit to that. I think she was just saying that.
Yeah.
just to get back into game mode. Like I don't think that was real.
I hope not. I hope it wasn't like a
Yeah,
serious.
I don't think
incident.
there's real
That's
beef.
crazy.
I don't think there was real beef because
He
we
told me
lived on
he's-
this island. Yeah. I
She's not
agree with
playing
you.
again though.
She's not
Yeah.
playing. No.
No.
I think that Nick will probably play again. I think Wendell down the line will probably play again.
I hope.
The the definites, I feel like Adam Klein's definitely going to play at least one more time.
Yeah.
I feel like Michelle is probably going to play one more time. And I feel like if they do a Heroes versus Villains season, there's a potential that they could bring back Tony and Sarah.
On Heroes or Heroes?
Or Villains. For Tony and Sarah?
For Villains.
Yeah, I feel like they bring back Tony and Sarah for Villains. I feel like Sarah,
for Villains.
Yeah, I feel like Sarah, especially, and it sucks because I do feel like I don't know if you saw the secret clip from this season where she has that moment with Kim at the well.
No, I didn't see it.
So she's having an actual moment where she's talking about how she got a lot of backlash after the season that she won because she felt like a lot of people gave her the win because she played the best game, but she felt like people were bitter towards her because they felt like her building relationships with them was just a part of the game. She doesn't really actually care about their lives. And she was saying, I feel like I'm a bad person. And Kim's just saying, you're not a bad person. This is a game. This isn't real. But I feel like in game, Sarah is very much a villain because she does exploit the fact that she does exploit these relationships. Now I do think she's building them for later in life as well, but she does exploit it. But then Tony come on. You can't put Tony on the Heroes. You can't put Tony on the Heroes. So I think that if they ever did a Heroes versus Villains, you bring those two back. I think of the two, more likely that Sarah would come back than Tony.
I think so too.
I also think that Natalie Anderson could potentially come back also. I would put her in the Villains tribe. Other than that, like all the old school people, Ethan, Rob, Parvati, not Rob, Ethan, Amber, Yule. I think they're all, all done. And it was really nice to see them have, this one final moment. I think everyone got, even if it was a negative moment in Danny's case, I think everyone got their moment this season. I didn't feel like anyone was like under edited. Now it might have been a bad edit, like in Wendell's case, but I feel like everyone got a moment or two here and there to say goodbye to the fans or whatever the case is. And that's really why I feel like this season is always going to be pretty high on my list. Is because if this was the finale, like if this was the end of Survivor, I feel like it ended perfectly.
No, I think so too.
Yeah. If this, I don't think it's going to be the end or anything, but if it were to end it right now, it would be perfect. So just please,
especially with the final three being so different, played such a different game and being the final three, just perfect.
So other than that, do you have anything else before we head out?
Well, on fire tokens. We talked about fire tokens.
We discussed fire tokens.
I have two theories why they did Edge of Extinction.
Okay.
My first theory is I was listening to Rob and Tyson on their show, and did you hear about their adventure on Heroes versus Villains when they got voted out and they went to Australia?
They went to Australia.
Yeah.
Ponderosa where Amber was saying, "Oh yeah, that guy's a jerk. Why are you friends with him?"
Yeah. Oh yeah. And so I'm like, so that's why they didn't want to go to Edge of Extinction. That's why they wanted to do Edge of Extinction, because if they just went to Ponderosa, they just go to Australia and go to the Four Seasons again, and all on CBS's dime.
Yeah.
They wanted to save money. So they said, no, send them over here.
We're already giving the winner $2 million.
Yes. We don't want to do anything else. And also, because it's like you said, you're an Ethan fan. I'm an Ethan fan. Ethan was the fourth voted off or something.
Third. But yeah.
Third.
Yeah.
But you're say you're watching, you're like, oh, Ethan, I haven't seen him in 15 years. And then he gets voted off, and you're like, well, I'm not watching this anymore. Like, oh, you still get to see him doing the stuff on Edge of Extinction, so you still get to, see him play.
Okay, so it's the Redemption Island conspiracy theory of they did Redemption Island South Pacific, and they brought back Russell, Rob, Coach, and Ozzy, and the reason they did that was, so just in case this person gets voted out, we still get a couple of extra episodes with it turned out to be Russell, And then Ozzy, he was there the entire season. Yeah,
Yeah.
I actually really like that theory. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Um, I if they were to ever bring back the Edge, I would hope it would only be for a returner season.
Oh yes,
Even
100%
though I
agree.
did like the escapades of Reem and the first Edge of Extinction, I did like her as a character. I feel like it was
Oh yeah, yeah.
a lot better
Agree.
in this one, especially with like Ethan almost dying, and
Yeah, that.
it was another intense part of this season. Like this season
Yeah,
is it's going to
another.
end up like catapulting it to number 2 maybe down the line, but
Yeah,
yeah,
after a few
this
more
season
watches.
was definitely up there for me.
Yeah.
So other than that, anything else?
No, I think that's it. Just amazing season. I can't wait for Survivor to come back. Tony did an amazing job. I love seeing everyone. I hope everyone comes back, but there are definitely going to be some
Yeah,
that aren't.
I say
But
3 out of 20, maybe 4 out of 20.
yeah.
That's about it. I think most
What do you
people
think
are
about what
counting
about
them.
Ben? You think he's coming back? I don't think he's coming back.
I don't think Ben's I don't
No,
think
I
Ben's
think
coming back.
no, I
I,
don't think so
I
either.
don't think I would want Ben back. Not once again, not because I don't like him, because I don't mind him. It's just
Yeah,
I don't see them. I feel like they would bring back Michelle before they brought back Ben,
yeah. No,
because
I
at least
agree.
Michelle has a storyline going to the third one where it's, oh, I've never been eliminated.
Yeah,
Okay, let's see what happens. I'm a
yeah.
better Amanda Kimmel almost. Um,
I guess she is. I mean,
well,
Amanda.
yeah,
I think I
because
like Amanda a little bit better.
well, Amanda's whole thing was she would get the final and just
Yes, and she's so
yeah,
bad in jury
just
in the
poop the bed.
jury
Yeah, yeah.
rounds.
You let I feel like Parvati was probably going to win Micronesia, but like Amanda didn't do
Yeah,
herself any favors. And
no.
then in China, the fact that once again, big Courtney fan,
Oh,
the
I
fact
love
that
Courtney.
Courtney got more votes than
Yes,
Amanda did,
that's absurd. And I love
it's
Courtney.
absurd. So yeah, I would feel like Michelle is a better version of Amanda
yeah,
because she actually gets to final tribal and actually can articulate
yeah,
why she deserves to win the game.
yeah.
And
Oh,
especially
definitely.
in the first game where she played against Aubrey, who was the odds-on favorite probably to win in those three, the fact that she was able to, basically talk herself up to a win instead of Amanda in China, where she probably talked herself out of a win.
Oh,
And Todd,
definitely.
Todd also gave like a great performance there. So,
Yeah,
but yes,
yeah.
I really enjoyed the season. I'm hoping that we get it soon. Other than that, we appreciate everyone tuning in to watch us. It's been a fun time. This has been the Trevor and Drew show, and we are out.
See ya. Thank you.